guys. I'm Mike Manal from the Nerds of Color. It's great to talk to you both.
Look at you. Is that real or is that fake?
It is thankfully a Peace Fest piece of memorabilia.
Our
I,
Wow.
favorite Peace Fest.
yes, I had the best time ever. I had the best time at Hall H too with all of you guys there.
Nice.
It's always just a joy seeing you and talking to both of you, honestly.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
Of course. So I got to start with this. I mean, the themes of Peacemaker have always been about people deserving second chances. I think that that's been at the core of this series since the first season, and it's continuing a lot in the second season. I think that's something that Harcourt has definitely embraced with Chris, and I think that Flag Senior is very difficult. It's difficult for him to do so as well, like Chris deserving a second chance. Jen, do you think that there's a part of her that wants to try and get Flag to see this? And Frank, do you think that could ever happen?
I think that Harcourt believes to her core that there is no chance that Rick Flag Sr. will ever give Peacemaker a second chance. And I don't even know if she blames him for that because I think she's still warring with herself about the fact that she kind of has given him a second chance to some degree. And that's a really complicated feeling for her. She still doesn't even know how she feels about that, I think. And so, yeah, I think, no, I don't think that she expects that he's going to do that. I don't know if he ever will. I don't know what the story is there, but I think Harcourt's terrified for Rick Flag to know that she has allowed Christopher Smith to be this close to her.
Mm.
I think Flag doesn't believe there would ever be a second chance. There's no way. But I think that if he does not let it go, I think if he doesn't forgive, it could be the demise of Flag. It could eat him and destroy him in a way that revenge actually does to people if they don't let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's kind of it would be really a shame because, Frank, we've seen you in three projects already this year in the DCU. And for the most part, Rick has been this stand-up guy, he's always been the stand-up guy. This is the one time that we're kind of seeing him in a more antagonistic role.
Yeah.
But what's the secret really to mixing up your performances in each of your projects as the glue of the DCU to keep Rick Flags' appearances fresh?
It's a great question. Yeah, I mean, look, it's what happens in life is that, based on things that happen to us and circumstances and obstacles, we kind of adjust our behaviors, and that's kind of the way I've looked at, creating what Rick Flag becomes. And it's interesting because he's now in a place very far from where he started in Creature Commandos. And I don't know how much further he could go with what he's holding on to. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what's next.
Awesome. And my
Yeah.
last question for Jen. Harcourt is willing to do everything that she can to get the job done. And she's also a very strategic thinker. In a lot of ways, it kind of makes her similar in ways to Waller. So how do you think she struggles with trying to avoid the risks of becoming Amanda Waller?
I think that Harcourt um, hasn't really accepted that it's possible for her to fall into that trap. I think that she believes that her moral compass, though her moral compass is a very, very sort of narrow thing. Like, she morally is pretty broad, but in this one way, she is incredibly loyal to her teammates, to her fellow soldiers, and so I believe that Harcourt doesn't accept that it's possible. Now, is it possible? Is it possible for something to happen to blur that line for Harcourt so that she does have less sanctity around her fellow soldiers and all of that stuff that makes Viola Davis's Amanda Waller as evil sort of as she is in terms of what she's willing to do and how many lives she's willing to sacrifice. I don't know, but we'll see.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for your amazing responses and for your amazing performances. This is a wonderful season. It's a wonderful series, and I can't wait to see more of this. Appreciate it.
Thank you for showing up as Peacemaker.
Thank you.
Absolutely, guys.
Fine. I love it.
Thank you for having us. It is an honor to talk to you, sir. We've been fans of yours for a long time, going back to The Office and now to Peacemaker. You are such a terrific actor with so much range. Love it, love it, love it. Of course, first and foremost, what's it like to join the DCU officially?
It's incredible. I mean, honestly, I didn't think at my age I would be playing like a superhero character. So that was pretty shocking when they called to say, "Hey, would you be up for doing this?" It just happened to be on April 1st that they called. So I thought, is this a really bad April Fool's joke? But it wasn't, thankfully. But yeah, no, it was pretty incredible. You know, I'm a huge James Gunn fan. I've known him for 20 years. You know, we worked together on Brightburn, which is basically the sort of evil Superman kind of movie, like a horror film. And I was, you know, always looking forward to the next chance we get to work together. So I'm so glad it came along.
You were great in Brightburn, and it was a terrifying movie and an underrated one for that matter. So I just want to put that out there. It's a terrific movie. Of course. You do in the dance sequence, and potentially, I don't want to spoil anything, but potentially in the future we might see it. You do have a costume in the dance sequence, I believe. What was the costume like? How was that fitted? Did it feel comfortable? Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, we had to do 4 or 5 fittings of that costume because from the time they asked me to do it and the time we started filming, I think I only had like 10 or 12 weeks to try to get into shape. So I was going to the gym 6 days a week, like 6 hours a day. I dropped like 50 pounds in the process. And that suit had to keep getting taken in and taken in and taken in until eventually they were just like, "Hey, David, we can't, you know, it'll be what it'll be." It was pretty comfortable, actually. They did a great job of, you know, my costumer. They put zippers in certain places and things so I could sneak off to go to the bathroom, you know, and but doing the dance in it was probably the hardest thing I had to do in it because that was pretty repetitive and, you know, we had wire work and all kinds of stuff. So, but it was cool.
It's the most complex portion of that dance sequence because you guys are literally doing things that defy gravity. I don't think anyone else had to, so that's pretty admirable.
It's pretty cool. Pretty fun.
My last question for you, Cena, what's it like working with him? Your chemistry together is great. I don't want to take anything or spoil anything away, but you guys work really well together. What's he like, and what was that like?
He's a dream to work with. I mean, the guy he is such a gentleman and such a professional. And he was so willing to become vulnerable in these scenes. You know, we have a lot of very sort of touching, intimate scenes between two brothers that I don't know that John's been asked to do that kind of work in his other movies, but I for one was really impressed and super surprised. Not super surprised. I guess I was just really impressed with how vulnerable and how moving those scenes were to shoot. Yeah, he's an amazing man, and I was very grateful to get to hang out with him and, you know, get to be his older brother for a season.
I loved just seeing these two comedic icons actually really doing some great dramatic acting together. It was fantastic to see, and it shows how well you guys just play as actors just overall. So, David, this was wonderful. I'm so glad that we get to see you for an entire season, and here's looking forward to more, hopefully.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Professional artists and professors, maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC.